Good afternoon. I don't know why my transition between scenes turned off there. I am not having fun with XSplit today, so I'm just gonna sigh. Yeah, it's like half crashing. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Thank you. It's exactly how I wanted to start. I'm hoping that this means that I don't have to restart the whole program right now, because that would be not okay. But it looks like I can't even change scenes. So it's wonderful. Fun fact, because this is really funny story. I was just talking to our streaming guest about how sometimes when you stream, you will have changed nothing, and the computer will be exactly as you left it, and you will have finished streaming, and then you'll hit the button again, and then nothing will work for no discernible reason, except maybe to test your patience. And that appears that that's what's happened here. So I'm going to shut this down before it crashes, because it's going to crash, because it looks like that's what it's doing. And we will be back shortly. So, thanks for tuning in to the first minute. Are you sure you want to exit? No, I don't want to exit. I want you to stop crashing. Oh, wait. No. To do what?
No.
I appreciate your attempt to help, but I seem to have... It's fixed itself. I don't know. So I had a really nice introduction for our wonderful streaming guest, who I had the good fortune of getting a chance to meet and chat with a bit at the Descent earlier this year, along with the rest of the cast of her show, except for, I think, one didn't make it. Welcome to the 101st episode of Idle Champions, a broadcast from the beautiful Pacific Northwest. City of Victoria, BC, Canada. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Dungeons & Dragons for being Dungeons & Dragons for 40 years now, which is pretty cool. And also, I'd like to thank D&D for hosting us on the official D&D Twitch. It is and will always be an honor to be here. Shout out as well to Erica, helping to co-produce and moderate this alongside me, because this show would be even more of a disaster without Erica, believe me. So, since we are in the midst of Feast of the Moon, it's about time I introduced my guest, and I'm just going to cross my fingers that everything works when I hit the button in a second. Perhaps you know her as Natters on Twitch, or from her graphic design work, or maybe you tune into High Rollers Erois, where she plays Sentry, the Guardian Paladin. So please welcome Rhiannon Gower to the stream. Where's the work?
Hello.
Work. It worked. Not as well as I'd like. Hello. Wow.
Hello, how you all doing?
I'm great. Just
amazing.
So good.
There she is.
Yeah. I left Sentry highlighted just in case.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
It's all going well. It's all going good.
Yeah. It's funny because just earlier today I was rewatching the stream you did with Tom and Mark, and like it has the whole introduction where like who knows what it was, and I was just like, yeah, that's sometimes how it goes.
Yep.
I think this machine did a Windows update between last week and this week, even though we haven't touched it. Because just before I called you or set up the call, it had switched all the audio settings around.
Oh no!
And I had to redo it because like I have an Xbox controller plugged in, and so it tried to switch it to the like Xbox microphone that you can plug into it, which I don't use, obviously. And then NVIDIA drivers wanted to update, and then just now when I went to stream, it said the NVIDIA driver wasn't compatible and crashed immediately.
No, I had all that the other day.
No. And then I switched it over. Yeah, but we technically started on time.
Yes.
So that's good.
Not late. Hashtag not late.
Yeah. Which is especially lucky because, as it turns out, it's like after 9 o'clock where you are. So
it's fine. I've been staying up late for so many nights this week. It's been crazy.
Oh, good.
I've been learning Blender, so I've just been up all night just like making stuff.
Yeah. I saw you did like a well and a T-Rex.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's
been good.
Are you just playing around with it, getting the hang of it, or you got a project in mind?
Just getting the hang of it. Yeah, like it's been really cool. Like it's completely free, and it's mad that something like that exists for free. It's crazy.
Well,
it's cool.
Yeah.
But I know what else exists for free and is also crazy.
Champions. This game. This game in the background where we got an angry elf, a fancy boy bird, and now a plant mum.
Plant mum's here.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask, where did that nickname Plant Mum come from? Because I'm curious.
I don't know.
Is it,
Like it just.
is it the audience or?
I think it's the audience thing. I think the community just sort of came up with it, and it's just stuck since it came around. It's really cool. She's a big old mama bear who's a plant lady.
I want to actually dive into that in a second, but I just noticed that Mark is in chat and he said my secret favorite player. Which I don't know if a DM is allowed to say that, but hey.
Well, technically he's my favorite DM, I guess. So
technically,
well, he's the only DM I've ever had. So woo!
You know, if Mark Hulmes is the only DM you've ever had, you're doing all right, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because as it turns out, and like this isn't a knock against my DMs because I love my DMs, otherwise I wouldn't play with them. But you know, I have DM'd with DMs much worse. DM'd with DMs, played with DMs who are not as good as Mark. So
yeah, I've heard a lot of horror stories.
Yeah, there's definitely horror stories. I don't want to shame anybody's style of DMing because it varies as wildly as the people who play D&D.
That's very true.
But yeah, it's you know, when you find one that you like, it's awesome, and you have fun. So as long as you're having fun, it's all good.
Yeah, very lucky player. It's very cool.
So Plant Mum, I noticed as you were tweeting out pictures of Plant Mum's gear, that you have this like what seems like this kind of like ongoing narrative coming with it. That I'm wondering where that comes from.
Oh, cool. So that sort of all harkens back to like centuries past. So for people who don't know, Sentry is sort of a being from beyond the time that now exists in the current world. So she used to serve the royal family in the kingdom of Solwynn, which was then besieged by Starbane, and that caused the kingdom of Solwynn to be destroyed. Sentry powered down and was inactive for about 500 years, and then woke up in what is now Erois. So she's kind of like a fish out of water kind of thing. She's aware that this is still the world she's on, but it's all changed and it's all different. Mm-hmm. So all the story behind all the gear and the lore is all stuff from her past that is all sort of tied into like her time in Solwynn, which we've sort of touched in the main campaign, but we haven't really delved into it because it's been destroyed. Like it doesn't really exist anymore. So it's kind of opening a history book, I suppose, into that realm of Erois and that time period. So I thought it'd be quite cool to sort of make a little like history, make a kind of timeline that links those items together, like in Sentry's memories and in like Erois's timeline as well. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
And is it
having
stuff?
A fun time doing it.
Are those are those tidbits parts from a backstory that you'd already prepared for Sentry, or is this just an opportunity to share some of it?
It's an opportunity to share, but it's also an opportunity to sort of put things out there that I've written but haven't really explored in the game quite yet. So they're kind of like nice little tasty tidbits. They're very fun.
That's exciting. So as these are coming out, then is this stuff news to Mark too? Yeah.
Although I send a lot of what I write to Mark, but a lot of the tidbits that I've written for the items, this is all new stuff. This is all fresh, new, like this is a very, very, very kind of honed in info, which I haven't really gone into yet. And most of it's been kind of very vague and like, I have a kind of a rough idea, but this is like, this stuff exists to do this purpose and this happened because of this. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. It's also I think one of the most exciting things about just kind of sort of speaking on behalf of the studio here is that like we get to work with cool people like yourself. And man. You know, we're excited to realize characters that people love, and having an opportunity to talk more about it or deep dive into it more, because you know, a lot of the time the items you have in D&D are just letters on a sheet of paper or your iPad or whatever, but like, you know, your axe it's this axe and I roll this dice and I hit with it, but it's not always an opportunity to explore the narrative of, you know, the who's, what's, and whys of that axe and its story and all that stuff. So it's been very cool to watch you share some of that.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, the feeling's mutual. It's been cool to work with people that are also really passionate about D&D and bring it to life, like in a really cool and accessible way. It's really, really sweet. I love it. You guys are doing a good thing.
I'm glad you're having fun. We're having fun. You're having fun. This is how you win.
Yeah. How you win D&D. How you win life. Have fun.
Yeah. There's a couple of people in the chat talking about how much they love Sentry and Idle Champions.
Aw, man. That's so nice.
Yeah. One of our players is like, big ups to Sentry for using an axe. We're pretty much drowning in sword boys and gals.
Man, axes are cool. Although all weapons are cool in D&D. I love, like, I'm a big fan of hammers and stuff and big two-handed broadswords. Like, gimme all of that. I'm very much a hands-on combat kind of person.
Are you gonna give Sentry a great big? Oh, there's the flame lance again.
Yeah, she goes.
You're gonna give Sentry a two-handed maul or something in the future?
Oh man,
something enormous.
Oh, like a Death Star or something. Just like, what are they? Morning Stars. One of those.
Oh, that would be fun. So something that I ask everybody who's on this show, everybody that we've chatted with, really, is like, I'd like to hear from you in your words what your D&D story is. How did you come to play D&D? When did what did you start? What got you into it? And like, how did you go from Rhiannon, who's never played D&D, to Rhiannon, who plays D&D on a popular show?
Oh, cool. Well, I've only been playing D&D since last July, so I'm fresh D&D babby. But I've always wanted to play D&D for such a long time. Like, I'd always heard about it growing up, and like, I grew up in like a very my primary school was very Catholic, so D&D was like, nah, like, all the bad stuff behind D&D, all the stories and stuff. So it just wasn't really a thing when I was growing up. Like, when I was a lot younger, like, people didn't really talk about it. But as I grew up and started playing games like Neverwinter Nights and like playing like RPGs and stuff on my dad's PC, I like learnt what RPG games were. Then I learnt what D&D was, and I was like, man, I want to get into this. I want to do this, but I just never had a chance. I never had an opportunity. And then last year, like, Mark and the guys, just because I know them from my fiance who works in the same office, was like, hey, like, heard you were interested in D&D. Do you want to like maybe, give it a shot? We're looking for another player. Do you want to maybe come and try and play with us? And I was like, oh my God, the stars have aligned. Yes. Like, more than anything. So here I am a year later. Like, I've been to LA, been to Berlin, met so many amazing people through D&D. There's a whole community. It was so much bigger than I thought it was, and it's an amazing place to be. It's the coolest thing I've ever done, for sure.
Yeah, Berlin was where TwitchCon was, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask about that because I remember somebody asking us if we were going to be at TwitchCon Europe, and we're like, probably not, because that's expensive to get our stuff there.
Yeah.
But we did get the chance to spend some time at the Descent, which was
was
fun.
Very cool. Like, it was awesome getting to see all that in person. Like, oh my God, that was crazy.
It's a trip, hey. Building sets and it
was very cool. The guy did such a good job. Like, it was my first time in America as well, so it was just one of those like massive experiences. I was just like, everything here is so huge. Like, oh my God. It was definitely a mind-blowing experience. It was very cool.
I would say it's also, like, having spent some time in America, it's very different from a lot of America.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Hollywood is different, and being on essentially a movie soundstage to play D&D is not the usual usual way one gets to go about it. Yeah. And then I guess you guys did oh God, what's that? I'm forgetting the name right now. The place where they do live jousting while you eat.
Medieval Times.
Medieval Times. Yeah, you guys did Medieval Times. And,
that was hilarious. And one of the guys that were with us was allergic to horses, so whole night he was just going downhill. Like, he was just getting worse and worse.
Oh man,
it was so funny.
That will temper your experience, I think, a little bit. Maybe a little bit. A little bit.
It was very cool seeing that in person.
Yeah, and
you see it all so much in films, and it's just bam in your face, like, you're there. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys get a chance to check out much else, or were you guys on flights back pretty quickly after the event wrapped up?
What did we do? I think a couple of us went to Warner Brothers Studios, and then some
Mm-hmm.
of us had some quiet, just checking out LA, checking out the shopping districts and stuff. God, I can't remember what we did. What did we do? I know we did the Descent.
Yeah.
My God.
Harry Potter. I know because Katie talked a lot about Harry Potter.
Yeah, I think Katie and Tom did Harry Potter. What did we do? It was such a whirlwind because I think we were there for what, like four days. We must have done something other than the Descent. That was 2 days. I cannot remember.
So
How
it must
weird.
have been fun.
It was definitely fun. There's just so much to take in. It's one of those places where everything is such like a visual, like overstimulation. You know what I mean? 'Cause there's just so much going on at one time. It's mad. Like, I loved it though. I would definitely go back, 100%. It's got a cool energy.
I look forward to finding out what they're doing next year and seeing whether or not we get invited also.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's definitely a highlight of the year, I find. Also,
it's very cool.
You know, even above and beyond the event itself, which is like, it's cool. They build sets and, you know, you get to see the new book and all that stuff. But I'm getting just to reconnect with everybody in the community again. Like, you know, and I probably won't drink old fashions that get poured out of a tap in the wall.
I made that mistake in Berlin.
Again. Yeah. In 2018, when we went, I went with the other guy who does marketing here, Clive. I don't know if you've met Clive. You've definitely corresponded with Clive.
Yes.
And he made the mistake of having the old fashions out of the wall in that bar. Because like they just put a cup up to a tap in the wall and then they pour it out old fashioned.
Oh my God.
And it is, they're good, but they're stronger than you would think. And so like, I made fun of him in 2018 because he had a few, and I definitely bought him more drinks because I'm a jerk. And, you know, he had a brutal hangover the next day. And I was like, And then this year, I'm like, I'll have one of those. And I remember being fine leaving the party, but then we went to the Star Wars bar, and I'm like, I got loser drunk by the time I was there. And
I remember
you know,
that
the next day was a little rough. Yeah.
Yes.
I definitely was probably really annoying to Ryan from Akink. Because we were chatting about something, and I was definitely probably too into it for like too long, you know. And then luckily my boss dragged me. He's like, "We need to go now." I'm like, "No, I'm going to sing karaoke." He's like, "No, we need to go now." Thanks again.
Karaoke in the Star Wars cantina is like top tier.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, I was too afraid to even try at the D&D Beyond party because there are too many people who can actually sing there. Like. Yes. You know, bunch of ringers. You know, all the Satine sirens are there, and they can all sing, and you know, and so on. But no, I wasn't quite white girl wasted shankist, but I definitely ranted about Blade Runner for like half an hour to somebody. But at the Star Wars bar, when we rolled in, there was somebody like singing Metallica. I'm like, all right, this is more my speed.
Yes. Yes.
I can get into this.
I'm staying.
Yeah. And that was what inspired me. And yeah, anyways.
Oh, amazing. I love it. So good.
We have a couple questions for you in chat. Let's see. Taken or Taken 363 would like to know what inspired a plant-based / entwined Warforged. Typically, I see them as purely mechanical and magical.
Oh, cool. So I think it's because I had the idea of her taking the Oath of the Ancients thing. I can't remember what it's called. Wow. When just taking the Oath of the Ancients. So from that, it sort of inspired her visually to be kind of very organic looking, very sort of overgrown, especially with her like being out of action for about 500 years. I imagined her being kind of viney, sort of moss covered after being sat just with like wasting away for 500 years, like that kind of like Bastion feel. Yeah, you know, when it's like kind of rusty. She's not quite perfect. She's a bit stiff around the old joints, you know. She needs a bit of oiling up. Like, I like that kind of image of her. I think and it also it's a nice way of adding a kind of like a femininity to something that's quite I guess quite robotic. Like it's a nice touch without adding anything like too visual, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I know. I like my grassy girls. Kind of like that old. What's that? Oh, it's like a folklore thing. It's an old. It's like a face. It's like a. I can't remember. I can't remember what it's from. But it's from like English folklore. There's this like old man face, and he's covered in like leaves and stuff. And that image sort of came to my head when I was thinking about her design.
Oh, okay.
So I had to kind of think about that kind of very natural design aspect. The Green Man, that's it. Yeah, Green Man.
Huh.
Yeah. So if you go, yeah, it's kind of that kind of feel.
Yeah. I'm just curious, and this is something that one of the players in chat just asked, but it's come up before. Is like Sentry's listed age is 13.
Yeah.
Like that's how many years she's been active, but she's technically 513, right?
Yeah.
So like, how does that work? It's just
So-
while she was inert, just her personality stopped developing, or just like a full pause, or like.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a cryo sleep, I guess. So she shut down and just like wasn't existing for those 500 years. Like she just went to like full shutdown, and then when she reawakened, she sort of just someone hit play, and then she just continued on from there. So it's kind of like pressing pause. She had a pause and then continued on after 500. So she's still 13 technically.
Huh. Our Clive is also in chat, and he's curious
Hello.
about your accent. He's like,
My
I've been
accent?
trying to place it. Which part of the UK are you from?
From Norfolk.
Norfolk.
Good old Norfolk. Yeah. On the old east side.
See, I can tell that there are differences between British accents, but
It's very similar to Bristol. It's a little sort of like country, sort of farmery, I guess.
Yeah.
So that the two sort of blend in quite nicely. There's certain words that I say that are sounding a little Bristolian, like work. That's starting to sink in. So I'm losing a little bit of the Norfolk, but not too much.
Fair enough. My experience with accents is limited to a grandmother from London and Downton Abbey. So it's not a lot of range there,
Very like Queen's English.
Yeah. I can't. I thought all Brits talked like that until I found out there were many more accents. So
Nah,
yeah.
I talk like a dirty person. I do. Like I haven't got a nice British accent. Mine's very like rustic, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Dirty British.
That's so fascinating to me. I mean, there are North American, there are Canadian equivalents, there are American equivalents. Like, there's a show, I don't know where online you would get it, because I doubt it's in Europe, but there's a show called Letterkenny. I think it's on Hulu in the States, but it's a service called Crave in Canada, and it's about rural Canadians who do sound like that. On the very east coast of Canada, like Ontario and further east, yes, sure. But it's like the accent is so intense and so different, and people are like, Canadians sound like that? I'm like, no, not really. Like some in this one part, but it's so dominating, I guess, is that it's kind of like you end up with all those misconceptions about how an accent sounds from one area, when really there's a huge amount of variety just as you spread out from any one part of a country. So
that's it.
Plus people have been talking in English in the UK for a long time, so lots of variation.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Irish. I love an Irish accent.
Is it the musical part of it, or like?
It's just it has a nice flow to it. It's very like very like up and down. Like it's cool. It's fun. I like it.
I was just going to talk more about accents. I'm like, that's not really about video games.
This is what happens when Rhiannon comes into a stream and the tangents just go wild.
Oh, it's yeah, that's what they're talking about in chat now. American South versus Midwest versus East Coast. Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's see. Another question for Rhi. What was it like creating and playing characters like Aurea and Ozra? Ozra? Who are vastly different from Sentry.
Oh man, that's the fun point about like making new characters. It's like you get to be like, right, I have this character who's very much this alignment. Let's try and go this side or this side. It's great fun. but also I like to design a character based on like the classes I pick for them. If you get like it's a very sort of straightforward design process for me at the moment. So Alzra was man, what was she? I think she was a sorceress. Oh no, she was a fighter, samurai fighter style / sorceress. So for her, I wanted a very kind of Japanese but like mystical feeling. So her style is very much like a design wise, she's kind of based on like, what's the name of the dude from she's a very like, it's a very weird like Native American cross samurai style. I don't know why the Native American style got in there, but it's very cool. And then so I wanted her to kind of have a very chaotic neutral feel to her. And then Araya was a rogue / ranger, but I wanted her to feel very nautical, so she had a very kind of like pirate with a French accent, half walk, as you do. Like, so it's kind of like just exploring different avenues, different routes, different classes. It's been really fun. I like trying new things and like picking different races, picking different classes, because I'm new to the game as well. I'm still trying to get into my groove, and find my rhythm. So it's been really fun to experiment and just try out different things.
Do you have a short list of stuff you want to try, kind of like lined up, like, oh, I want to try one of these and I want to try one of these? Or
my next character in line is a halfling bard called what was his name? Oh, what was his first name? They got like Rick Dynasty or something, based on like an 80s metal hairband, like visually.
Yeah.
So like he'd be very sort of David Bowie-esque, very kind of cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
I want to play a guy as well. I don't play enough dudes. I need to start playing some more dudes. I've played one, but I need to do some more.
And how is that different for you? Like, are you trying to consciously make an effort to be more masculine with the character, or do you just kind of play it, or how does that work?
It's just fun to like experiment. So the last guy I played was a dragonborn barbarian called Bear Strout, and I played him for 2 episodes. But he was super fun, like really rough and tumble, really just like super macho. I'm gonna come in and mess stuff up kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's fun to sort of play on that more, like, I guess that more masculine side of me, because I know I'm very aware I have a masculine side, and it doesn't come out very often. So it'd be fun just to bring out rough and tumble Rhiannon, and like play something a bit more, I don't know, someone who's a bit braver. I think a lot of my female characters tend to be more timid, but that's just my side. That's my like timid Rhiannon, shy side. She's here. And I tend to like overthink things a lot and second guess, and I take a while to like make a decision. Whereas my more like side will just charge into things head on, and I want to bring out that side a bit more. So that's why I like playing dudes. I don't know why. It just gives me that like that good old hard and charge, hard and fast play style that I like.
Huh. Cool. Interesting. Yeah. Do you have any? Because you guys occasionally have guests, do you have anybody that you're hoping can join you guys on stream at some point? I'm not fishing for an invite because I would be terrified to live stream a D&D game, but like, do you guys have friends that you're like, oh, we want so and so?
It'd be awesome. I'd love to see Patrick Stewart play a game. I think Patrick Stewart would be amazing. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen playing D&D together would be like dream team. Squad goals. I
did see them both on Graham Norton a couple of years ago for the launch of,
I love them.
What was it? For Logan, when Logan came out. And so Hugh Jackman was there too. And you could tell that they'd been making movies together for like 20 years now or something, right?
They're amazing. I can't believe it.
Just a group of besties at that point.
Absolute squad goals.
Yeah. Plus that show is great because he's smart enough to get everybody drunk while they're on the show. So they tend to be they tend to have a lot more fun and be a lot more interesting as guests. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
A player or somebody in chat named Wonder would like to know, what did you expect when Mark and the others asked you to join High Rollers?
Oh man, I didn't really know what I was getting into. Like, I knew that it would be D&D, and I knew it would be really cool, and that we'd be doing it on live stream. But I didn't know like the scope of it. I didn't know like I didn't know I'd be doing this with you. I didn't know I'd be doing other things. I thought I'd just be playing D&D on a little live stream on a Sunday. Turns out it's a lot more than that. It's a lot busier than sitting down for 3 hours a week. But it's great fun. It's totally not what I expected at all, and it's definitely thrown me into some new situations that I didn't think I'd ever get to be a part of. So it's been really cool. Been super duper cool.
And who knows how many on-stage performances and other stuff you have in the future.
Man, I get so nervous before I go on stage for anything. So like doing that and D&D, like I used to play in a band, and when you play in a band, you sort of know what you're doing, right? You know what you're playing. When it's D&D, it's all improv. There's no prep. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're walking into, and you're doing it in front of people as well. Oh my god. Jeez. Yeah.
Playing a band, you say?
Yeah.
I need to know now. What was the band? What were you playing?
So I used to play bass guitar in a punk rock band called Remold way back in high school.
Oh, that's sweet.
got pretty good at our local scene. We did some good gigs around the local area. It was pretty good. It's pretty fun. It's how I met my fiance. We were in the same band together. It was very cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Time. So you guys are going to do a musical episode of High Rollers then, right?
Well, we got Mark. I think Trot plays guitar. Chris plays guitar. So we pretty much got like half a band already.
Yeah. Everybody else can fake it. Just give them tambourines and just
we can do it.
Just so you can start off doing
Easy
covers
peasy.
and then you can write your own music.
Musical High Rollers.
High Rollers the band. Yeah, do it.
Improvisational.
Yeah, you see, I see Tom's in chat. He's in.
Hello, mate. Yes, he's well up for that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. You only need to sell one more person, 2 more people.
Yeah.
And do it.
Done.
I will tune in for that. do
deal.
diggy hole. Oh.
REP's coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That would be great. Yeah. Please do that. That would be a great Christmas special.
Oh, that'd be so good.
An Arrowist Christmas carol, and you can all dress up. Speaking of dressing up, I saw your profile photo is still Rogue.
Yeah.
From your, so I need to know how deep you are into X-Men and why you love Rogue so much.
It's deep, man. It's deep. Like, X-Men was my favorite cartoon growing up as a kid. Like, 90s X-Men, the best, OG, so good. Rogue is my favorite. My sister, whose name is Phoenix, was a massive Jean Grey ergo Phoenix fan. Mm-hmm. So she's got everything. She's got all the comics and stuff.
Yep.
Like, it's cool. But Rogue's always been my favorite. I'm a sucker for Southern accents, just 100%. I just thought that she was so cool. Like, her and Gambit's whole like relationship thing was very cool, and how they're so on and off all the time. She's so like independent. She's so strong, and like her strength comes from everyone. Like, like she absorbs powers. Like, it's very much kind of like how I am. I'm very much like I feed off people's energy, if that makes sense. Like, mm-hmm. if someone's excited about something, I'm gonna be excited about something. If someone's sad, I'm sad. Like, I'm very empathetical, and I think Rogue's whole like power thing is like a good physical manifestation of that.
Yeah. And
I very much draw to that. I think she's super cool. I love her. I love strong women.
And did you like the way that Anna Paquin played Rogue in the movies, or were you hoping more for the cartoon where Rogue is already throwing cars?
Cartoon Rogue.
Yeah. Cartoon
Rogue is number one. Like, I don't know what they did to her in those films. I don't know what they did, but it's
she never got Captain Marvel's powers.
No, exactly. It's all wrong. Rewrite the whole thing. Go back, fix your mistakes. I want my good Rogue back. With the green and yellow catsuit, by the way.
Oh,
where did that go?
I mean, that was a very 90s outfit.
So good though.
You know, like they didn't do it before and they haven't done it since. You know, like
well, the 90s are coming back in a major way. It's time. Let's
I know
reboot it.
that actually
Let's bring it
terrifies
back.
me because it just makes me feel old because I very much remember when that cartoon came out, and I very much remember when because they relaunched X-Men just around that time as well.
Yeah.
Artist who's now like a huge industry icon, but at the time was just artist Jim Lee. Revamped all the X-Men characters, and Rogue in her green and yellow with her like
good.
bomber jacket and the headband.
Yeah. It's the best.
Yeah.
Best Rogue. Only Rogue for me.
So I have to know because I did tune into that Halloween stream for a bit, and I was just it was a little bit of shock seeing Mark's commitment to his part.
It was very good.
It was. I would almost hesitate to say it was too good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, so when he came on stream like that, was that the first time you guys saw it, or had you already seen him and then you guys got ready and did the? I'm just curious about the beginning.
I hadn't seen him fully in the makeup. When I came in, he was already in the outfit, but then like his fiance was doing his makeup for him, and I was getting ready in the same room. But it wasn't until like he turned around and I was like, oh shit, like. Oh my god. But it's also like when Mark shaves, like when Mark commits and shaves his beard off, you know you're in for a good time. Like excuse me. Like it's his commitment to a good cosplay is top tier.
It was impressive, and
it's very good.
Even more so, I'm like, it actually looks like Rinoa from Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah.
Like it's crazy. I mean, I plucked my eyebrows. This is as far as I went, but Mark is like everything went. He like waxed his legs. Like he
waxed his legs, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. Oh, that just sounds painful.
I can't do it. I haven't got the resolve. I hate pain. So I'll avoid. Like I'm Sasquatch, because I don't. Yeah, TMI.
Yeah, I remember at the Descent, Mark was saying that he did Bowsette at some point. He's like, you should look it up, and I'm like, what's a Bowsette? Because I didn't know what it was. And then he described it. I'm like, do I want to see that? Like, but 100% props, kudos. That's commitment. Yeah,
it's more commitment than all I would do. 100%.
Yeah, I put on a pirate jacket every year for D&D Live, and and I don't even do an accent or anything. I kind of do it. I only do accents for Extra Life because people will donate and make me talk like in different accents, and they're bad. But if it's raising money for children, I'll do it.
What is the best worst accent that you can do?
Best works? Oh God.
Best worst one.
I'm a little bit too good at a really bad pirate accent.
I love it.
To the point where people kept donating for me to do it for every segment at Extra Life last year. And then I was annoying Scott Kurtz so much that he donated to get me to stop. And then my DM in chat says all his accents are Bostonian accents. So I don't know why. I think it's because I've seen too many Scorsese movies. All my criminals talk like gangsters out of that are from Boston. I don't know why. Though, and I can't improv it. Like right now, if you asked me to do it, I couldn't do it. It's only when I'm like trying to be that character. Then and like the accent will change into it slowly from whatever I tried to do into that every time. So I am so sorry. I really enjoyed Boston when I was there. It's beautiful. Scorsese movies are in New York, not Boston. No, that's a good point. But like just the whole Rage is in Bostonian. The whole just like New England, Massachusetts, Boston, that part of the East Coast.
That's cool. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'm the same with accents. I can't. I need some good prep time for an accent. Like, can't do it on the fly. Just can't do it.
Yeah. Oh, Gower says I did a decent Arnold Schwarzenegger accent the other day. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I've had a way more practice with that than I should have. Yeah. 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 That stems from just bad jokes that you persist. I don't know. I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger movies growing up, so I've seen all of them, and
amazing,
and no regrets, none at all.
No, not at all.
And but yeah, his accent is so ridiculous.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
And I don't think you could do it on purpose. But my favorite thing about it is that there's the first movie he ever did, Hercules in New York. Somebody dubbed it because they didn't think his accent was very manly.
What?
Yeah.
He's such a manliest man ever.
Well, but he crafted that, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's manly because he made it so.
That's
but
true, yeah.
At the time, they're like, eh. And then I guess they dub him in Austria as well, because with a German accent, he doesn't sound badass the way he does when he speaks in English.
What?
So
that's crazy.
isn't that mind blowing? Yeah,
That's
it's like,
so crazy.
He can actually speak German,
But it just wasn't good enough.
not awesome enough.
Wow.
And so they needed the German equivalent, which is not him.
That's mad. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Aw. Good old Arnie.
Oh,
Good old
yeah, somebody in
Arnie.
chat. He's like, to them, he sounds like a hick. Yeah, so I guess he just sounds like some rural Austrian, and they're like, nope.
Dude.
So that makes sense. Yeah,
Aw.
but in North America and the rest of the world now, he sounds like the Terminator. So
Yeah, exactly.
you associate it with that.
Like, scariest man in the world. Like,
Yeah.
you hear that voice, like, oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, we're back to accents again. Okay. Let's see.
Amazing.
Do you have, and I'm curious about this because it's something that I sometimes think about as a player of D&D. Do you have a sort of a planned or hoped for narrative trajectory for a Sentry, like somewhere that you want to take Sentry before you either retire the character or maybe the character dies or moves on or whatever? Like, do you have what is Sentry's dream?
Sentry's dream. So I think at the moment she has two goals. First goal being to obviously like avenge her fallen kingdom, right? Take revenge out on the guy that took everything away from her, basically. And then secondly, she just wants to go home. Like, she just wants to find a place that's either like home or is home, and just spend the rest of her short life just being at home. Like, that's all she's wanted. I think, yeah, getting to that kind of resolve would bring her an arc to a nice completion for the time being. But also, like, she's very much connected to her friends as well. I think she wants to see her friends succeed more than maybe her own goals.
Yeah.
So I think making sure the party do what they need to do first, then enact her own arc, and then she'd be a nice full circle. I think would be nice.
And like, what's her lifespan? Because you said short life.
So recent events have spiraled her lifespan into a more climactic situation than previously would have. The sheepy Mez has hit it on the head. Yeah, so I originally wanted her to have 15 years, so she had 2 years left.
Mm-hmm.
But in the recent campaign episode, she just had a little checkup done, as you do, and she's been told she has 3 months left to live. Unless she can get her matrix fixed and have her lifespan extended in that way.
Yeah.
So it's very much become a frantic sort of moment in the campaign.
That's dramatic. That's
Yeah.
it's not that long.
No, it's really not.
Yeah.
Although it has taken us about a year, maybe about 6 months to do 3 months worth of in-game stuff. So it might be a while. It might not be. I don't know. It's really scary.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's good. Just adding another little like sense of urgency to the campaign. It's sort of like kicked everybody up the arse and been like, right, let's go.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I understand. We play a lot of D&D over here. We were actually playing D&D until a couple minutes before I set up the call, which is
Nice.
why I was setting up so much of the stuff in the lead into the stream instead of beforehand. And yeah, it's interesting how you can get you can end up on a path for your character that you don't like. You're on it.
Yeah.
And you don't you have goals that you want to resolve as that character.
Yeah.
Which gets real awkward when that character doesn't make it.
Yeah.
If you've played them for a while, so
That's it, exactly. I'm like, oh my god. Well, she's already been downed once. Like, like one more strike and she's out, and it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the nitty gritty now.
I'm curious. Do you DM at all? Do you have plans
No,
or
I
aspirations
don't.
to DM?
I would like to. I think I would like to. I've sort of like written my own sort of premise for my own campaign idea and stuff.
Oh,
It's sort of like it's. I wanted to put like mechs into D&D. So like I wanted to try and write like a mecha-based RPG campaign with like some mechanics for operating mechs and stuff instead of having
sold.
classes. You
That
have
sounds
mechs.
sweet. Yeah.
But I got a lot more learning to do. I think I need to play some more games, get a bit more confident, and then maybe write a campaign based around that. Might be quite fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you
Mech
big
D&D.
into mech anime or
I just love mechs, man. Like
just in
I've been
general?
watching a lot of Voltron recently, and it's been
Yeah.
inspiring me to get on that and write some more stuff. It's been really cool.
Sweet.
Voltron's so good.
It is. You know, it's funny. So I remember the first time it was on, when I was little, just growing up in the '80s. Voltron was around, but also Robotech, which was the rename of Macross when it hit North America, which was on
Nice.
TV forever, and then a whole bunch of other, Gundam and Macross and all that
Oh,
stuff all through the
yeah.
'90s, and yeah, some awesome big robots. Big robots are sweet. So
Big robots are so sweet.
yeah. Somebody
Very
in chat
cool.
suggested that all the players are gnomes and they have to use Warforged to fight.
That would be amazing. Just gnomes piloting Warforged. That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Somebody.
I've been suggested Lancer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Lancer. Yeah. And there's lots of good movies and stuff too. There's, sorry, my leg is stuck in between two things. I'm just moving it. Yeah. There's tons of cool stuff you can draw from for inspiration. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing it, and especially the musical episode.
Yeah.
Where all the giant
improvisational.
robots are playing their giant musical instruments to smite things with the power of sound.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Like Scott Pilgrim versus the Universe mech battles. Like,
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
that'd be so good.
just makes me think of that scene where he's
Give me
having
more
the
ideas, Dylan. This is dangerous.
the bass battle between Scott and Brandon Ruth's character, whose name I forget.
Yeah.
Where they're just
It would
having
be
a bass
that
off.
with mech suits.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Oh.
All right,
Too cool.
sounds good. I can't wait to watch that show. So we only have a few more minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that flew.
Yeah. Time flies when things
Crikey.
are awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to plug or talk about?
Watch High Rollers D&D on Sunday.
Definitely, yep.
Twitch.tv/High Rollers D&D. That's really about it. Really, I don't really do anything else besides that. It's just all D&D, baby.
Fair enough. Do you play much outside the show as well, or?
No, the show's really all I sort of do. I would love to play more games. Like we've definitely spoken about doing some more things during the week, doing some like Roll20 games and stuff. Just streaming some more casual games. Keeps us all nice and fresh and ready to go. So I think that would be nice to do something like that, especially in 2020. It would be nice to bring some new stuff to the stream. It'd be pretty sweet.
Cool.
Yeah.
And no, we already covered that subject. I was just gonna go back to accents again.
I love it.
That's so funny. Anyways, I don't want to keep you up too late if you have something else you want to get doing. So, yeah, if I feel like we can let you go, and you can
Oh man, well,
get
thank you
on
so
with
much
your
for having
evening.
me, Dylan.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
It's wonderful, and looking forward to seeing you at D&D Live next year, hopefully.
Yeah,
Cross your
fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah. Get to playing some games, and hopefully Mark gets to play next year since he didn't get to play on stage this year. I don't
Be
think.
super cool.
So, yeah, cool.
Yeah, massive thanks to you and the team as well, man. It's been a pretty sweet couple of weeks. It's been
Oh yeah,
having Sentry in the game. It's been
fun.
awesome.
It's cool. It's
so much fun.
it's one of those things where you get to be rewarded in that getting to work with people that we like working with is always fun.
Exactly. It's
and
super cool.
yeah, it's always cool when we get to bring something to life. So we're glad you like it.
It's very special. It's super cool. I love it.
Awesome. Well, anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
All right. Cheers.
Take it easy. Bye, guys.
Huge thanks to Rhiannon for staying up to join us on stream. I know that Dylan turns into a pumpkin by 8-9 p.m. at night and doesn't want to talk to humans. I just kind of like I shrivel up and hang out in my cave and I hiss at people who get too close. So kudos to Rhiannon for joining me, and I'm glad XSplit hasn't crashed. Though I'm kind of expecting it to, because it's doing a lot of stuff that it's not supposed to. So I'm glad this is technically working, because I can see that it's working, so that's good. That's good. But yeah, streaming, not as easy as it might look sometimes. What else? In a little bit here, I'm going to have Chris join me to talk about something that we're working on, because we get a lot of feedback from players who'd like to see some of the stuff that's in development or previews of stuff. So I have a little something that we can start to share. In addition to that, how do I point at it properly? You may have noticed that right now, the Celeste that I have looks a little different than your Celeste. This Celeste is a skin that will be available next week as part of our Extra Life campaign this year. I don't know how many of you follow Codename beyond Idle Champions, but we like to do an Extra Life every year. I think this is year 5 or 6 or something. And yeah, it's a charity thing where we game for 24 hours and do our best to raise money for, in our case, BC Children's Hospital Foundation, which is an absolutely amazing cause. It's an absolutely amazing cause. I mean, helping save kids. Save the kids. So we're really, happy and fortunate to be able to participate in that every year. And our Extra Life 24-hour stream is actually going to start on Friday next week, so the 22nd at 9 a.m. Pacific, and run for 24 hours. And it'll be starting off with me, but with tea and bags under my eyes because it's early. And I will be playing one of my favorite games of all time. Until I die, because I'm bad at it now, because I haven't played it through since 1997. But maybe I'll find some time to practice in the next week to make sure that I don't just suck horribly on stream while I talk about it. But that'll be coming up first. I see there's a backlog of a few questions I can get to in the meantime. So I suppose one of the things I'm going to do, a little behind the scenes thing here and hope that it doesn't fucking break. I should be able to do this stuff on the fly and not have it affect the stream negatively at all. So, we'll see if that works today. This is actually the second or third week in a row that we've had problems with XSplit launching right off the bat, and it's because XSplit has been updating, and also NVIDIA has been updating, and when they're not exactly where they want to be, they just one of them will just not work, and it will automatically shut down. So, that's fun. Technology is fun. Computers are fun. They're so cool. And yeah, so what do we got here? Azura and Idle Champions. It's a hard maybe. You never know. We have a few other Heroes of Eros to focus on before we look at other characters. We have at least 2 more to add next year. Already. Is there a chance that you guys implement a tracker for achievements in the UI for us? There's a chance. I don't know how likely it is because it's not really something that we're kind of focusing on, but I will pass a note along to the devs, and who knows? It could happen. What else do we have? KL Hansen, question, Dylan, do you know how awesome you are? Oh. And how much we love the cool guests you have each week. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, it's a little easier when your guests are awesome. We're very fortunate to have had a lot of opportunity to chat with really cool people who are in the D&D community. This is our fourth high roller. Just 2 more to collect until we have the whole set in terms of interviews, as well as casts of other shows. It's just been a blast, and so it makes it a lot easier. Anyways, hi buddy.
Hey, buddy.
I'll let you get ready, and then I'll switch over the thing.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Word.
so it's on now.
Testing.
Yeah.
Hey,
Consider
guys.
it tested.
Yeah.
So we have a crop of a screenshot to share. And then I'll let Chris talk about it a bit. And then we probably won't discuss it much further because it's very much an early work in progress preview of something that is in development. So here is the screenshot.
All right, now quick, flip back real quick so they have to get the screenshot while...
That's just mean.
So this is a new preview of our offline progress system that Peter has been working on behind the scenes for a couple of weeks. And our goal is to make offline progress happen. When you log off and you come back, it's more than just gold. You can progress if you've set your formation and your familiars up. If you're collecting things, you can see what you're getting when you come back. And so it's a system we've been wanting to put in for a while. Right now we have a couple of different disparate ways of progressing depending on the platform you're playing on. But we think this will give players a more unified experience and a more exciting experience when they come back to the game. Just as a note, this is work in progress. As you can see, the event currency currently has a visual bug that we're working on. But this is...
The time away is incorrect too.
Is the time away?
Oh yeah, 5 days, 18 hours.
Yeah,
No, that's not how long that was.
It's in QA testing right now, so there's
Yeah.
a bunch of us in the office that have it on either our dev account, and then we're seeing how it feels in terms of resources you're getting back, in terms of progress, and we're evaluating it, and we're hoping to roll it out in the coming weeks.
I was going to say months for you, and you said weeks.
It fell out.
It'll take however long it takes.
Yeah.
But this is something that has been requested for a long time. It's been something that is complicated and requires a lot of work. And I had 2 screenshots to share, but I didn't share the other one because it's not very attractive. But basically, it was the progress bar for calculating this that is not fast because it's complicated.
It's pretty exciting though when you see it. It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
The first time I set it up, I was like, ooh, offline progress.
It's the first loading bar I've seen that I like because it's like it's telling you it's like how awesome is it going to be, and the longer it takes, the awesomer it's going to be.
True story.
Awesomer is the word if you watch South Park. Anyways, yeah, it's an in progress. People have been often asking us if we could talk a little bit more or show something that we're working on, and can't show it in progress. But this is one of the things that we're working on right now.
Yes, one of the many, many, many things.
Yeah, which is to say we are working on more than one thing right now.
Who knew?
And more than one thing that you have asked for and will like. But as for when those things are coming,
Yeah.
when they're ready.
Hopefully we'll have a fun and exciting end to Q4.
Yeah. Sooner than Blizzard or Valve soon. But, codename soon.
Do we want to talk about what's going on next week?
Hey, I mean, you're here. You can talk about that if you like.
So we have our Extra Life game that's going to happen on Friday. Is that the 22nd?
Friday the 22nd, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Right here on this channel.
Yeah, on this channel.
Twitch.tv/CNE Games. We're going to have a office full of games. We're going to have, we've got a murder mystery. We've got D&D games. Should I be spoiling our entire lineup? Probably not.
No. Yeah, I feel like it's unfair to some of them to talk about what it is because maybe they're not finished refining their idea and it's not quite done.
All right, so let me talk about my idea.
Yeah. No, go for it. You can spoil that one as much as you like.
So, who here has played Robo Rally? Show of hands. Robo Rally is an amazing game. It came out in the 90s, 93,
I don't
94.
know.
Yeah,
I've never played it.
it was created by Richard Garfield.
Oh, really?
And I was actually reviewing a Dice Tower review where Tom Vassell mentioned that he designed Magic because he wanted to get the money to actually make Robo Rally, which was the game he wanted to make.
Oh, interesting. That's funny because here we are 25 years into Magic.
Yeah.
No, maybe more. Maybe more now.
No, 25.
Is it 25?
I think it's the 25.
Yeah. We're a ways into Magic.
Yeah.
Which is the collectible card game worldwide, period. Full stop. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
What a trip.
But we're going to play Robo Rally, and we're going to have a penalty for the player that fills the registers last. So for those of you that don't know how to play, it's a frenetic robot race game where you're basically racing to different flags. But there's obstacles, there's other robots in the way, everyone shoots lasers at each other, and it is crazy and fun. But everyone has 30 seconds to fill their register, which is basically the orders their robot is going to take. And it's based on the orientation of your robot on the board. So that's really where my wife just loses it. She hates this game. She hates it with a passion. I've tried to play with her a bunch of times. She's just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm like, just pretend.
So you're going to subject us to it?
Yeah, because I can't play it at home, man.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah.
But whoever fills in the register last out of all the players has to eat a hot wing.
See, I'm down to eat some hot wings. I don't know if I want to play Robo Rally.
Well, you can be my producer, and you can just eat hot wings while you're producing. Be like, ah.
I'm not sure. What time is it?
I don't know. 10 o'clock? 10 to, feel like we are 10:30 to 1 in the morning.
Okay. Probably not, because I think we'll be playing our Office Curse of Strahd game is getting close to the end, and we're going to, I think, be doing a version of Strahd Must Die that night to finish the campaign.
You're not doing Weekend in Barovia?
Well, no, because we've been playing this Barovian campaign for going on 2 years. And so there's a lot more to wrap up than just a one-shot. So I suspect it'll take us some time. I'm not sure how much time, but
is that going to be on camera for some of it or off camera?
No, it's we've been playing these characters for too long, and there's just too much RP to do that we wouldn't be able to do on camera.
That's true. No one would get your in-jokes.
They definitely wouldn't, but also just I don't know that as a group we would be comfortable being the characters on stream.
I get that.
It's one thing if it's I'm only doing it for the stream, then I don't care. But these ones, there's a lot of baggage for them actually. They're messed up folks now.
Well, I mean that's the benefit of having space in the studio. We've got whatever is going to be on the stream, and then we've got for the other 15 or so people that are playing from the studio. There's things off screen.
Yep.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But we're going to have from, 9 a.m. on Friday to 9 a.m. on Saturday.
Yep.
Come join us. We're going to have lots of fun, especially in the late night hours.
I'll be sleeping, but yeah, have fun.
I've got a birthday party to go to the next morning.
Oh, God.
Adam's birthday party, or Adam's kid's birthday party.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He
Wow.
definitely did not plan that right.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens. Yeah, I'm actually going to, I think this year, it was a toss-up between two games. I was either going to play Untitled Goose Game, which I may still a bit as just filler. If a show isn't going to happen, then I'll just boot it up and play it. But no, I'm going to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Didn't you play that last year?
No, I played Super Metroid.
That's what it was.
Got lost and died right away. I'm like, oh, it's been too long. And then Adam and I played Street Fighter for the rest of it.
Nice.
But no, Symphony of the Night, 1997's Game of the Year.
Very exciting.
Yeah, you'd have thought it would have been FF7, but it wasn't.
That's surprising. Did it come out too late in the year, or?
No, FF7 came out in August in North America, but Symphony of the Night it's the best side-scrolling action RPG that's ever been made.
Good clarification.
Yeah. Not that FF7 is bad. It started a thing that's a real big deal. But it's
going to be a bigger deal next year.
Yeah, March. Yeah, Anyways, so that's
what I'm here for.
Yeah, Extra Life and
Extra Life,
offline
progress. Working on it. New DLC next week to benefit Extra Life, launching on Wednesday.
Yep,
that'll be exciting. She's looking pretty good in your formation right now.
Yeah, she's just walking around with her enormous Morning Star.
Did I mention last week that somehow the new skin fixed her hunch? She hunches a little bit. We realized when we did the side-by-side.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the healer Toral, she's a little bit more upright than the previous version.
I'm just gonna...
Let's see if we can... Oh, if you do the swap back and forth, you can probably see it.
Oh, yeah, she just leans forward a little bit.
Yeah.
And leans forward a little more.
You got to make her a little bit more leany.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's there.
Yeah.
Neat.
I like it. Huh. So thanks for having me on for a few minutes. Hey, everybody.
No worries.
Good to see you.
I look forward to deflecting questions around it for the rest of the day. Anyways.
All right.
See ya. Thanks for stopping by.
No problem.
Alrighty. Oh. Bum, 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 bum. Just gonna push this chair out of view because it's all me now. This is all you got. All you got is Dylan. Okay, so yeah, players had requested seeing a little bit more about what's going on, so that's a little bit more about what's going on. Just adjusting the mics and levels and positions and stuff because it's just hella awkward right now. It's just not quite where I want it to be. So, anywho, all right, going back into the backlog of questions. A secret code hint. You know what's funny? So today's stream secret code was originally in the title for the episode, but then it got changed. It's you see, it's a so giving hints is a little bit of a tricky thing in that y'all are smart. And the internet hive mind is smarter than me, so I could do something. I'm like, this is hard, and then I could say a bit of a hint, and then you guys just get it instantly, which sometimes happens. So, what I can say is it doesn't follow a pattern like the combination that's active in the corner of the screen over there. What it does do is it's something about Sentry. So, yeah. And you'll get 2 silver sentry chests when you guys figure it out. Sudan, do we know what the background music is? So the background music is actually a track from one of our previous games called Shards of Titan. And so it's just the background for a snowy landscape just on repeat. And I picked it this time because we hadn't used it yet. Can you spoil the weekend buff? Of course. Yes. Let me just... What I do know is that... wait for it. Wait for it. Why are you not loading? Okay. Mirror image weekend with buffs for Celeste, Shandy, Caddy Bree, Tyrrell, and Avrin. With a golden epic for Avrin. So, that should be good. The secret combination is not Plant Mum. No, it's not. Unfortunately, Plant Mum is only 8 letters. It's got to be 12 or 16 for us, right? This one is 12. I will confirm that it's 12. More champions who are outside of male/female, if or when. So, we would very much like to include more non-binary champions. We don't have any... The remaining ones for this year are not. In fact, I think they are both male. And I don't know if we have any in our confirmed slots for next year. But yes, we would very much like to include more of them. It's representation matters. What can I say? Evil Emperor Zerg. I've noticed that Vizier, Crowy, and the Pseudo Dragon moonwalk on the ultimate bar. Intended or a bonus feature? It sounds like a bonus feature to me. Yeah. I'm going to make a note actually for our devs. Like, is this actually an issue? But yeah, I'm making a note. Checking it later. Chesterstone. Is Santa Claus the next champion for December? What I can say about... So we have... Sentry's event, we're in the second week. It wraps up on Monday. And so that'll be your last chance to unlock Plant Mum without opening a time gate or waiting until next year. The next 2 champions are both evil and are both male. One will be coming with Simrel at the end of this month, the day before Thanksgiving in the United States, actually. And the last one will be coming out really close to Christmas as part of Winter Shield. You guys had the opportunity to get Chris to spoil who the Winter Shield champion is last week on our 100th episode, but he didn't because you guys wanted to know more about when Dragonbait is coming, which, fair enough. It's been long enough. So yeah, not going to talk about the Midwinter champion yet, but I think people will be happy. Krampus when? I don't know that Krampus is a thing in the Forgotten Realms. ETA on the dev blog, Garwar. That's a good one. So Justin went home sick a day or two ago and is actually working from home while sick right now. When Justin has time to finish what he's working on, because we have a bunch of stuff planned for next week, he's going to tackle it. I don't have an ETA on it, unfortunately. I was hoping that we would have an ETA on it sooner. There's a... God. If Dylan were to guess, I would say that the chances are you will get it next week or the week after, just based on how things have been going. But you never know. We will see. So yeah, I can't give you an accurate ETA on it, Garwar. Sorry. Why is Puent's Gutbuster stacks based on the number of slots he is adjacent to and not the number of champions adjacent, like most other formation abilities? Slots as opposed to number of champions. That is an interesting point, Mage Pie. I hadn't really thought about it. I'm going to pass that along to Chris and Justin and see if they have a reasoning behind that. I mean, in most cases, the reason we change something is just to do something a little different. But I don't want to assume that that's the case with this one. Thunder, will combine upgrades make its way to other platforms? Currently, it is only on the WebGL version. Yes, it will. It will eventually make its way to the other platforms. We do not have exact patch parity across everything anymore. We just have too many platforms on the go, and things have to be coded differently for a bunch of them. So, yeah. Can we see your wild offer? Sure, Red Seer. I will pull it up. I believe it's a thing for Neris. Yep. Neris's Spiritual Weapon Golden Epic. 12 gold Neris chests, plus shiny 4 blacksmithing contracts, 2,000 gems, potions of speed. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Yeah. Huh. If I wasn't a dev and could just hit the button behind the scenes to give me that, that's a pretty good thing. I don't have Neris's Spiritual Weapon. It must have happened when I was on holiday or something. Usually I just have all that stuff. But anyways. What is the best way to use Narak and Krond? That's an interesting question, A.H. Gillum. So with Krond, basically, you kind of want a Krond formation where you are using strength or evil champions who have enough wisdom to capitalize on Narak, right? So I have found that unless you have the wisdom buff for Krond, as well as the, what you need in order for Narak to basically buff 5 or 6 champions, including Krond, if you can't hit that milestone, you're probably better off just like using Walnut to buff. Because Narak doesn't scale up, because that ability would be so horrifically overpowered if it did. I'm not saying it shouldn't ever scale up, because I think that we can do something around that maybe in the future, but it's just making sure that Narak can buff enough champions with Githzerai Focus, and you can use them with Krond. I actually used him for quite a long time until my Walnut got better gear. Wyvern win. When do we get an Idle Champions adventure in DM's Guild? What can I say about that? I don't think I can comment on that right now, Wyvern win. But I very much like where your head is at and what you're thinking about, and we would love that. And that's probably what I can say. Lego Maple, are there any plans to add more music to the game? Yeah, our music gets a little repetitive after a time. So it's something that we actually considered for a long time, was making more music and focusing more on developing the audio soundscape for the game to, have just more compelling audio across the board. But the thing that stopped us from pursuing that is, to be frank, it's hard to make a good case for why we should, given that the vast majority of our players, I don't have the exact number right now percentage-wise, but the majority of our players mute the audio. So if our players are playing with the game muted because they're tabbed out or they're watching something or whatever, there's, they have a reason for it. Maybe they just find the sound annoying, but like, since the majority of our players play with the audio off, we're like, okay, we'll take that as a sign to focus on other things other than audio. So that's why we are not currently planning to do that. I'm not saying it's always going to stay that way, but that's kind of where we've settled right now. Joys in repetition. Are you guys planning to raise the level cap anytime soon? So our last level cap was in June, I think it was June or July. I can't give you an ETA on it. It is something that we have as a somewhat regular cadence in our production schedule when we're going to do balancing updates and when we're going to do things like soft cap increases. But it's not something that we're ever going to give dates for, because they're the kinds of things that can slip easily. It's a significant chunk of work to create, basically, especially as every time we do one, there are more champions because a new one comes out every 3 weeks. So, yeah. Bromium 2048. I missed Dritz the first time around. How do I get him at this point? Dritz is an evergreen unlock once you've completed enough of the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast adventures to unlock his variant, and then you complete the variant and you have him. And then you get his gold from gold chests. So, yeah, you will eventually make it there, Bromium. Don't you worry. Hostile Eldritch. Why are champions like Turiel or Barrowen not tagged as tanking? So they both exist in kind of a unique space when it comes to our champions and how they interact from the front row. Turiel doesn't tank in the sense that he actually can't tank. He has, a sort of aggro deflect, a reverse taunt, if you will, where he has an ability that is focused on whenever an enemy tries to attack him, they instead to attack another champion in the column if there's one available, and then he uses that to further buff his other abilities. So Turiel he reverse taunts, so he's not a tank per se. Barrowen is kind of a hybrid in that she doesn't get the full benefits of being a tank, but she's a frontline healer and she's kind of tanky. And admittedly, we are not 100% happy with where Barrowen is at right now, and we might make more changes in the future. But yeah, so they aren't dedicated tanks, which is why they don't have the tanking tags. And yeah, I mean, I'll also pass that along as a note for Chris and Justin, just to maybe with future changes or other things, they might consider making an adjustment there. Not promising anything, but you never know. Crislow at Twitch. A wish, individual. The sound at boss level is a little more hard rock metal. I am old school. Yeah. Ye old boss battle music. Yeah, I like what you're thinking, and I like where your head is at. But as I was just mentioning, because so many of our players play with the sound off, it's hard to, we're a small studio. It's hard to justify dedicating time to making more music and stuff. That's actually something that's rather involved. It's a process that takes up a lot of time and energy and money, quite frankly. So I'll pass it along, but no promises on that topic. Even remixes of the same music, like a sleigh bell version for Xmas. Fair enough. I'll pass all this audio-related feedback along. H. Gillum. Question, can we get a 420 champion in April? No. It's not something that we're likely to focus on. Despite the fact that obviously marijuana is legal in Canada and has been not so much legal as not that illegal here on the West Coast for much longer than the time that it's just been legalized. It's not something that we're likely to focus on. I know that as an example in fiction, when you think about a character like Gandalf who enjoyed the Hobbit's leaf, the dude was basically a chronic. I'm sure Elminster is always smoking from his pipe and such, but it's not likely that we're going to focus a champion or have a champion that has some kind of direct connection to that kind of thing down the line. There are just too many awesome lore characters and people that we love working with whose characters we have in the pipeline to justify having a 420 champion. But I appreciate the question. T.A. Kettle. Will Nayeli ever get her taunt back? Will taunting be granted to any other champions in the future? That's a good question. So it's a better question for Justin because I can't actually right now remember the reasoning behind why he removed it to begin with. So I can't poke him for that feedback because, as I was mentioning, he's working from home today. He's actually not here. So I'm going to pass that along. But in terms of will or could taunting show up again? Absolutely. I mean, I was just mentioning how Turiel has a reverse taunt in a way. Other taunt-like features could show up again. Yeah. Do you have an update on the Year 1 Champion Part 2 balance update? No. It is still in our production schedule for Q4, and we hope to hit that. Yeah. Wait, are you supposed to be stuck at Area 50? Oh, no. I just honestly had not noticed that I'm stuck. So I'm just going to turn on auto progress and go. Whoops. God, I've probably been on 50 for a while because, yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that auto progress had stopped. Whoops. Thanks for the update, Lego Maple. Is there a way to not be forced to trade out of favor gained from events before the next? No. And that's not something we're going to change. Sorry. Tamins, you used to say that you were not going to translate the game into other languages. Your plans have not changed in this regard? They haven't. We have a novel's worth of text in our game. So the chances of us undergoing a full in-depth translation of all the adventure dialogue is extremely unlikely. Yeah. Now, that being said, we're available globally on Steam, more or less. Not in every country in the world, but in many countries that don't have English as a first language. Our store interfaces through those platforms tend to be localized. So, DLC and describing what contents are and stuff like that, and some of the shop stuff. But the actual in-game quest text, it's unlikely to ever happen. There's too much of it at this point. Plant-based gender-neutral champion. Well, we just introduced a plant-based champion, so our next gender-neutral or non-binary, I should say, champion may or may not be plant-based. But I mean, there's a lot of things we can do with that. Alrighty. Any chances of encounters in future adventures that don't feature killing things, such as discussions with NPCs or traps? This would require attributes within the team to successfully complete or suffer a detrimental effect for the next however many areas. You bring up an interesting question, Colette, because obviously our game is designed a very specific way, and even when you're fighting traps or doors or boulders or barriers or whatever, you're bashing your way through them, right? We have the very Murdo Hobo-y blunt force way of getting through D&D adventures featured in the game. So yeah, I'll pass that along to Chris, and maybe he'll come up with some new or more unique ideas for some of his adventures. Alrighty. And since you added Spurt almost immediately after he had his very short stint on Critical Role, are there plans to add the first or second campaign characters from Critical Role? Hey, we had our weekly Critical Role related question. So what I can say is that we are huge fans of Critical Role, that they are a joy to work with, that we love them, and that if the opportunity presented to add characters from either Vox Machina or the Mighty Nine to the game, that we would absolutely love to. That being said, the likelihood has gradually gone down over the years, in that they have gone from a very popular D&D related show to a very popular D&D related show that manages their own studio, has their own channel, has their own other content that they produce now, and also has the most successful Kickstarter of all time, or the most successful film and television related Kickstarter of all time, that just sold 2 seasons to Amazon, which is going to be so much work, and has to figure out a way to give back, to reward 88,887 backers of their Kickstarter. So, like, to describe the Critical Role team as busy and probably at or close to capacity would be putting it mildly. The chances of our getting to work with them, I don't know how likely that is anymore. Yeah, we would love to if the opportunity presented, but it seems unlikely at this point. Rathkanan, what am I missing? I spent 8 months on Only the Strong and could not generate enough gold for Area 275. How do you have gold so fast? Oh, Rathkanan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. The long and the short of it is that every time you reset your adventure, the amount of gold that you've earned gets turned into favor of the deity for the campaign that you're in. So that's Kelemvor for the Tomb of Annihilation. That's Torm for the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast, and it's Helm for Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and it's Tiamat for Descent into Avernus. So those 4 deities. The more adventures you complete, or gold that you find in those adventures and reset, the more favor that you build up. And as you build up favor, it increases how much more quickly you get gold. So, like, if you look at the corner of the screen right now, I have 5.13 24% increase to my gold find, which means that every piece that drops is a crazy high number, because it multiplies based on the area that you're in. So it sounds, Rathkanan, that like what you need to be doing is resetting. You push as far as you can get in a reasonable amount of time, which is to say, measured in hours. If you have been stuck at a point for more than an hour or two, and you've purchased as much stuff as you can with gold and you can't buy anything else, you should reset. You should consider resetting. Because you will take all of that gold as favor into your next adventure, and you will get to where your wall was more quickly, and hopefully, because you will be generating gold exponentially more quickly, you will be able to purchase more and more and more blessings. So it sounds like that's what you need to be doing, Rathkanan, is resets. Lots of resets. Alrighty, follow-up translation question. Can you at least add the ability to translate using a Chrome browser? That's an interesting question. I don't know how feasible that is for us, Tammins, but I'll pass it along to the team and hear what they say. I don't want to get your hopes up, because we really don't have plans to localize our game into a bunch of different languages, but yeah. It's just one of those things, like, if the lines of dialogue in our game were measured in the hundreds or low thousands, then that'd be one thing to consider for a translation. But we have hundreds of adventures with many lines of dialogue for each. It's a crazy amount of content to translate into one more language, let alone 2, 3, 4 dozens, etc. So localization is, which is to say translation into other languages, is just not something that we're planning on doing. And it's not from a desire not to do it. It's more just like, we're a small studio. It's a huge thing. It's an expensive thing. It's just unlikely to happen. I started the game on Congregate. Why does it look totally different to your stream? I don't believe you could do this on Congregate. But basically, I am playing with the Gamepad Ui turned on. So in your settings, this is if you are on the Steam version of the game, you have a Gamepad Ui mode that you can toggle. And as long as you have a gamepad plugged in, you can switch over to this UI. And this is the UI for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and gamepads on Steam. So it's just a wholly different interface. And the reason that I use it is just because it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing for a stream. Like it just kind of like it's a little bit more streamable. The default one, it's kind of just it's a very functional UI. And it's got a lot of elements to it, but it just doesn't. It's not quite as photogenic. So that's basically it. All right. Megiddo, who is your favorite champion that you haven't written? So you're asking who my favorite champion is in Idle Champions, other than Warden? It's the only one I've written. I mean, I helped with design for some other ones, but Warden's the one that I did the bulk of the idea of. And I helped a lot with Turiel as well. I think in terms of champions and who I enjoy using, Sentry and Ayla are way up there. And it's not because of the Arrowist synergy, so much as I like versatile tanks that bring more than just tanking to a party. A dedicated support is a dedicated support, and you can't do anything without them because their damage buffs are invaluable to your formation, right? And like even Keelik, he offers a really cool set of synergies in terms of like he heals better from further away, and he buffs adjacent champions, and like he's got high wisdom, so you can buff his ability with Nurak, which is what I'm doing right now. Just to, I'm actually playing around with Arrowist synergy quite a bit right now, just to see if I can boost it a little more. But a huge fan of Ayla and Sentry. I think aesthetically my favorite designed champion is probably Ishi Snaggletooth, just because it's just such a bombastic design that's just so well done. Violet. I'm a big fan of Violet Miller too. I think she's wonderful, and Ishi just has so much character, and the character is there, present in the strut, the way that Ishi moves, and the vibrant colors that are used. Hey, wait a minute! The hero of the Veil just hit Turiel, because that's bullshit. That might be a bug. Anyways, maybe Ishi. Any plans to work with the Venture Maidens or any other podcasters? That's a hard thing for me to comment on, Ark and Sunseeker. I can confirm that we don't have plans to work with the Venture Maidens, because I only personally just heard of them right now when you wrote that. I am not super in the loop about the podcasts that are out there, outside of the ones that friends of ours are involved in. Trying to think of what I can even say about possibly not mentioned characters that we are who shows that we're working with, because we have a number of podcasts that we like to be able to support, giving them codes, hopefully helping to get them more viewers or more listeners. So no active plans with Venture Maidens. I can't really comment on anybody else that we're working on right now, except to say that we are working with quite a few other people right now. Are there any plans to bring the game to Switch? Unfortunately, I can't make any official comment on potentially being on any other platforms. Will there be any player ratings in the game? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Tammins. Player ratings? Like, I'm not quite sure what you mean, so I don't want to try and answer that, fumble my way through it awkwardly, and then actually not answer it at all, or just be totally incorrect. So maybe you could give me a bit more insight into that. Any update on being able to access journals outside of being in those respective adventures? That's not a feature that we've committed to developing. Like, I acknowledge that it's a good idea, and it's, there are aspects to that we're really a big fan of and that we like. That's a lot of data to have access at your fingertips as well. All the different adventures. So, what I can do is I can keep passing along to the dev team that's something that people would like to see, because occasionally we do see that feedback. But right now there are no plans related to it. With so many champions and offline progress getting better, would it be possible to run simultaneously 2 campaigns, each using a different subset of characters? I mean, that's possible, but I mean, like, you look at the there's a significant technical aspect to that needs to be overcome. You know, like, yeah, it's that's something that I probably can't really comment on at all. Sounds like a significant technical hurdle. I can confirm that it's an idea that we have discussed internally, and there are some really compelling ideas around that kind of feature set. But yeah, that sounds like a crazy amount of work. Alrighty, Tamin's followed up. So, player ratings according to the maximum progress achieved, levels of things, speed of passage. Oh, you mean like leaderboards? Probably not. We don't see this as a multiplayer game, and we don't want to encourage that kind of multiplayer aspect. Like, how do I answer this? Because it's been so long since we've had a question related to it. This is a single player experience. Just period, full stop. So, you know, adding in ways for players to compete changes the nature of how this is a single player game into a game where, okay, there is a competitive aspect to it now, because now you guys are competing for different things. And then things like, well, now I can pay to do something faster because I bought a DLC that had speed potions, and so I just sped through it faster or whatever. And it's just kind of like it's a slippery slope, and it's not one that we're really right now interested in going down. Will there be dynamically generated adventures or adventure chains? I mean, that's a possibility down the line, but it's not something that we're looking at doing. 7 below. Is there any ETA for an echo amplification fix? Did you open a ticket 7 below? I mean, the best thing to do. You're having a problem or you're seeing a glitch or whatever. Opening a ticket is the best way to do it. So, will Ashara ever support the other races? So that's an interesting question. It's an interesting topic in general, just to revisit Liege Hatchter. There was a time when Ashara only had one set of specializations, and we were asked if we were going to expand it to include the other races that were currently in the game at that time. And for a long time, we said no. And then eventually, we were like, well, we could do this. We could give her another subset of bonds, and, you know, just make things a little more interesting. And so we did that. And, you know, there's always a chance that we'll do that again, but it's not something that we're thinking about right now. So, you know, Ashara, maybe, yeah, it's happened before. It could happen again, but it's not something that we're thinking about at the moment. Alrighty, I now switched over to Steam, still evaluating the game. So you do not have any kind of cross-platform cloud progress like Realm Grinder? No. The long and the short of it, how can I condense the answer as much as possible? So David talked about this a bit last week when he was on stream for our 100th stream, and we've addressed the topic a few times before. We have different agreements with each of the platforms that we're on. We are currently available on Armor Games, Congregate, Android, iOS, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Steam. Which is to say, Microsoft, Sony, Apple, Google, Valve, and then Armor Games and Congregate, which are WebGL based, but, you know, our agreements with each of those platforms don't actually allow us to do something like that. You know, it's a little bit easier when I know I see Kana Dutchian asking more about this. It's like cross-platform support is something that a AAA company can pull off because the amount of money that they're making is high enough that the different platforms make allowances for them to do things outside their platform. That is not the case for an indie developer in most of the time. You know, it just isn't the reality for us. It's not something that we have the option to do. And on top of that, it would require that every one of these platforms has patch parity, and the updates, and that they're all compatible and all this. It's like our WebGL version of the game, like on Congregate, Cine Games, and Armor Games, is actually a different programmed version of Idle Champions than the other ones. So this is all to say that it's very unlikely that we will ever introduce cross-platform play. So, yeah, I know it would be nice, and I know that players have come to expect it, especially if you play games like Destiny 2 or Fortnite, or games where, because the revenue streams are so massive, they get a little more leeway. I guess it is. We are not a 500 employee AAA developer that has $1 billion budgets for a year. This is not us yet. But maybe someday. But no, cross-platform for Idle Champions, extremely unlikely. Let's see. Could the UI be updated to include the highest zone reached when you're selecting adventure or in the adventure description? I like that idea, section, but I don't know if it's something we would consider. I will pass it along to the devs and see if maybe that's something that could get thrown in, or it could get considered the next time they address that. And then I see that MagePie asked for a lunchtime campaign update. Well, I don't know. When was the last time I gave one, MagePie? Yeah, when was the last time I gave a lunchtime campaign update? I'm not sure how much has happened. Were we in the Amber Temple? I'll just start with the Amber Temple. So a while back, I guess a little bit more than that. A while back, our initial party of champions that went into Barovia of 5, 4 of them have died through various means since the campaign started. One of them came back as a vampire and is our healer, Tethys, currently with the party. The one that never passed away was Morgana, our morose bard. And everybody else has died at least once. And another one actually died, and then their soul was contained and put into a construct. And that was our druid, Big. I am currently playing a Yuan Ti kind of, she's a sky privateer. And we went into the Amber Temple. Our druid, still a halfling at the time, was killed. Then we eventually managed to capture their soul and put them in a construct. We went through the Amber Temple. We stole a bunch of gifts, got a bunch of information, accidentally gave an evil lich, or a semi-evil, semi-good lich, all of his memory back. He escorted us out, and we left, and we had sort of like a little, like a sort of like mini airship, like made out of like kind of like improv, made out of a hot air balloon combined with like a rowboat. Because my character used to be the privateer of a real-sized airship with, and everything, and got shot down. So we salvaged that out of the materials. We attempted to make our way to a safe place where we can resurrect our cleric, because she's a vampire. And it went sideways. A giant rock, a gargantuan-sized rock, attacked us in midair. We tried to distract it, save ourselves, find a way to land safely. Didn't land safely, though we did manage to lower ourselves enough and cut the ropes that we kind of like landed the skiff in a river, and we're like on it for a little while before the bird came down, smashed the skiff, and tried to drown everybody. And like we basically had irked a rock, and we're trying to deal with it, or so we thought, because when we tried to light that rock on fire, the entire thing actually lit, because it was actually an enormous, like a gargantuan-sized phoenix. We ended up fighting it on beside the river that we were on, because we did actually all make it to shore, and we had 2 NPCs with us. One of them got horribly killed by it, and the other one actually ran. He's gone. And we ended up fighting it with 2 polymorph Tyrannosaurus Rexes and a bomb that went off and, nearly wiped our party. And from there, we have made our way back to Argynvostholt, where we have retreated, and my character is going to use their dark gift of resurrection, the cost of which is their body looks like a corpse, so she already looks like she's undead, to resurrect our cleric. And we actually just ended our last session with getting ready to perform the resurrection on our cleric, who needs to die first. And so as we were discussing it, my character slid her silver rapier up underneath the armpit of our cleric through the heart and killed her. And that's how our session ended. And next session, we're going to try and bring her back. We'll see how it goes. Alrighty. How do you get your familiars to click on just one ultimate? Relief M69. So if you're playing the gamepad version of this game, you can go into your familiars, and the individual ultimates are down here. So you just assign a familiar to them. Now, I'm not 100% clear on whether this functionality is available across all platforms yet, but that's, yeah, it's been added in here. If you're not playing in the Gamepad UI version of the game, you should be able to just drag and drop them onto an individual ultimate ability, and they will continue to cast it. Yeah, hope that helps. Alrighty. Could you change the main map screen to allow us to view patron details, please? That way I can check which missions I need to run. I mean, I can pass that feedback along, Colette, but I don't know. It's I don't know if it's something that's feasible with the way we have everything designed. Making that note for... it appears that Twitch isn't saving more than 2 VODs to see any games. Is this an issue? It is an issue. It's something that we've brought up with Twitch, and we're looking to get addressed. But yeah, isn't done yet. Yeah, what can I say? Because you'll notice that we don't have a little purple check mark beside our name yet for some reason. And that's, like you need to go through a process to become verified channels and all that stuff. And we're just in the midst of it. I'm not exactly clear on how long that's going to take, but it's coming. Alrighty, speaking of Curse of Strahd, it would be amazing to get some champions from the supporting characters in the campaign. I know you can't spoil too much, but is there any chance that one might be in the pipeline? I can, we have talked about introducing champions based off of supporting characters in Curse of Strahd before. It's not something that we currently have in our plans, but it might happen again. Who knows? Will there ever be an option to see all the missions on a campaign map in one screen instead of having to click from village to village? Maybe. It's not something that we're planning on doing right now, but you never know. How do you get into this game? How long will it take to get to familiars or other new features? I've bounced off this game a few times and I want to get in. I guess my suggestion to you, Gels 20. Sorry, you had like 6 S's. What is the best way to get into this game? The best way. I feel like this is a question that someone like Gower could probably answer even better than I can, because I'm in a kind of unique place when it comes to this game, in that, like, as a dev, I like everything just kind of just shows up in my account as like we create new things for the game and stuff. So it's like I'm in a little bit of a different place than the average player. One of our community managers, Mars, posted a guide a little while ago, and you should be able to find the link in the sidebar of our subreddit, reddit.com/r/idlechampions, for Azaka's procession, like unlocking Azaka without opening any chests or without, 100% free to play way to unlock Azaka, which is one of the like it's a pretty significantly challenging milestone in the game. He does it without ever using a consumable, without ever opening any kind of chest, and without making any kind of purchases. So, to prove that it can in fact be done, which is we actually think is pretty cool. There's a lot of lessons in that about how to get into the game, how to do resets efficiently, that kind of stuff. That is kind of really integral for a new player and for a way to get into the game. The part that I personally found the most counterintuitive is resetting is not something that made sense in my brain for the first while that I played the game. That when you're no longer making progress, you complete the adventure, even if it's not complete, to reset it, get more favor, start again. And then eventually you start spending that favor to unlock blessings for campaigns, which makes your characters more powerful, which allow you to get through some things faster. It's kind of it's a bit of a feedback loop, right? Like you start making progress that allows you to make even further progress, and it just kind of you take off, and eventually you reach a point where you're blowing through campaigns. You've got lots of champions, and but it takes some work to get there for sure. So it's doable. Gower posts guides to darn near everything at this point. I mean, most of the features in the game, as well as all the events, which is really helpful. It'll help you make decisions about, when which champions to focus on, when to do different things. That would be my suggestion. And the official Discord is a pretty good home for players who have questions, who want to learn different things. So discord.gg/idlechampions. Good spot to be for that. Alrighty. And that's it. That seems like a good time for me to plug a couple things and then start to wrap this up. So, we have our Extra Life coming next week. Our charitable DLC this year, which is to say the DLC that you can get for Idle Champions, and all the net proceeds will go towards the BC Children's Hospital Foundation. Helping children. Is the Celeste Healer of Toril skin and feet pack. You can see the Healer of Toril right there. My Celeste right behind Plant Mum and in front of Ayla. So, thematically, healer, right? So that will be available next week, and all the money will go to kids. So that's coming up. Our current event, Feast of the Moon, wraps up on Monday, which is not that far away. We're talking Monday the 18th at noon Pacific. So this is your last weekend to unlock Plant Mum, and there's also Grama and Volania, but unlock Plant Mum without opening a time gate. So be sure to do that. Now is a great time for that. What else? I kind of think that might be it. So this has been the Idle Champions show for Thursday, November 14th, 2019. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for participating. Thank you for asking questions, for getting involved in our community, for playing D&D, for being awesome people. You guys are awesome. This show exists because of a number of amazing folks behind the scenes, especially my co-producer Erica, as well as our partners at Dungeons and Dragons, Greg, Bart, Pelham, Allison, Schalling, and Lisa. And of course, thanks to Rhiannon for joining me at 9 p.m. in the UK, in Bristol, so we could talk about Plant Mum Sentry. So take care, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, day, whatever your time zone is, wherever you are, and have a wonderful weekend. Cheers.